some of you are new, some of you are, forum members, veterans here. Uh, I will only say this much uh, that the forum is now 5 years old. We are 250 weeks old. Veterans there are many veterans. Dr. Raval is one of them, and many others here. So this is a combination to try and understand how solution providing is discussed. We discussed the science of water, of course, to an extent. The essential idea is to see that we are bringing together seekers of solutions with those who are providing solutions. While questions are asked healthily on the rationality of those solutions, why are we using various types of wastewater treatment systems? What are other things that can be used for RO and so on? And today, for example, we have Ajay Singh presenting, and the idea was born when I read one small feature on biosanitation and the railways in a magazine called the Indian Plumbing Today. That was, I think, last month. Immediately, it occurred to me to ask Ajay Singh, and without hesitation, thank you, Ajay Singh, for responding with alacrity. And he consented, and so here we are. The small note that you all read. The Indian Railways is a phenomenal institution, nothing to match it across the world. We are transporting one Australia as population grows every day. And that is, I think, the most important part of it. And how are they handling sanitation is something we will discuss today. Over to you, Ajay Singh. Thank you so much for being with us.
Uh, I'll just share my screen. I hope I'm audible, I'm clear.
Yes, sir, very much so.
Okay, so a very good evening to everybody who has joined for this talk today. This is a story about Indian Railways Biotoilets journey, how it came into being. And I think this is one thing which is acknowledged by everybody, all the people who were using railway stations earlier and who now go to the railway station, that this is one thing which has made a difference in railways atmosphere, especially at the railway stations. So I'm going to cover the how biotoilets came into being. This happened between 2007 to 2013. This is a period when I was in the ministry as director development, and I'm so happy and proud that Mr. Dr. Kamboj has been able to join us here. He's a scientist. He's a senior scientist in DRDO, and he was one of the key persons involved in this project during that period. So thanks, Dr. Kamboj, for joining in. Uh, See, this development of biotoilets is kind of concurrent with my my tenure in ministry as director development. So there is a disclaimer that I'll be telling about it in first person, but there is a large number of team which was associated in development. Of course, we were in the ministry, in the railway board, so we were coordinating, and DRDO was our technology partner. RCF, that is Rail Coach Factory Kapurthala, they played a very key role in designing the engineering part of it. RDSO, our Research, Design and Standards Organization, also helped in formulating the effluent norms and many other things which are associated. Of course, the railways, the operational part of the railways, they were also involved in the trials and subsequent deployment of biotoilets. Workshop is a place where we do the fitment of biotoilets. So they got involved. Vendors, that is the people who supply the biotoilets, they are also very important part of the project. So it all started 2007. I moved in as director development in the Ministry of Railways. Now this is an assignment which is of a fixed tenure. Normally, the deputation, the posting in the ministry is for 5 years. And I got two extensions because of this project, and I ultimately spent about 6 years on the project. So, if you recall, going back in the history, our political leadership, the Minister for Railways during this period, we had almost seven ministers for railways during this period when these biotoilets were being developed, 2007 to 2013. But by then, the biotoilets has, or for that matter, train toilets have become a priority for the nation, and they were reflected in three consecutive ministers' budget speeches. In Mr. Lalu Yadav's budget speech, Mamata Banerjee ma'am's, and Dinesh Trivedi's. Simultaneously, in the ministry also, my joint secretary level officers whom I was reporting to, there was a turnaround there also. And we had about six joint secretaries in this 6 years period. However, critical contribution was done by Mr. Sanjeev Kishore during whose tenure we finally kind of nailed the solution for this problem, which was there for almost more than a century with railways. This is my picture. I look very different. This is the picture when I was director in the ministry, and this is Mr. Pabbi who kind of took me to the to the ministry as director development. So this story of biotoilets is kind of intertwined with my posting there. And my assignment was mainly into the new technology initiatives of railways. So I was working on the technologies which were to come into the railways, and we had many projects. Most of them were kind of high tech, like from leasing to exports to end of train telemetry to wayside detector, uh, locomotive controls. And once these two became very, very significant for me personally and for railways also, these are the wayside detectors of wheel impact load detector and online monitoring of railway systems, as well as the green toilet. Green toilet was very, very important for me because it became a turning point for me personally. Also, I got associated with sanitation as well as water. That was the beginning where my seeds for in my interest in water were sown. So railways, we all know that we started in 16th April. Very soon we'll be completing 173 years of existence. And the first train of 35-kilometer run was between Bombay and Thane. So it is in, as Hari sir told, that we are almost handling population of Australia every day. And these are a slightly dated figure of 2007. I have put them deliberately because that is the context in which we are talking about. By that time, we already had largest fleet of passenger coaches in the world, more than 55,000. We were running over 7,000 passenger trains every day, and which used to touch around 7,000 stations spread over the geography of the country. Now, it's very interesting that the train started in 1853, and by 1993, almost 1.5 century has passed, but still our toilets were basically hole in the floor. So we had a very, very kind of primitive toilets in the train, which were not acceptable by that time. 1993 is a very significant period in the history of railways and my personal history also, because 1993 is the year when I actually joined railways as an assistant mechanical engineer. And 1993 is also important because that is the first time when railways put a toilet system which was not discharging human waste on the tracks. In fact, one of the ministers, Mr. Jairam Ramesh, he was the cabinet minister, he proclaimed that Indian Rail is the world's largest open toilet. So this was the kind of situation, or you can say condition and bad press what we were getting. But it's very interesting. When I started looking around, I found that, even in UK, officially they are allowed to discharge human waste on the tracks. So only thing they at a time only 25 liters of the waste and water everything can be discharged. So we are not the only ones which are doing, but that is no excuse to keep doing it. That is the discharge of human waste on tracks. In railways context, Indian railways context, the problem was humongous because we have four toilets per coach, and basically their water is used for flushing and it directly used to discharge on the tracks. We have a large variety of passenger services, and journeys are very long and heavy loads are there in terms of passengers. And there is peculiar thing as far as toilet use is concerned on Indian railways. toilet is also used by non-passengers also. It's not only the passengers who use the toilet, even when the train is standing at the stations, many times non-passengers also use the toilets. Of course, the space and water and power constraints are there as a engineering challenges. So these were some of the reasons by because of which nobody kind of seriously thought about putting toilets. End result was that our station used to have human waste lying on the track because that is the place when trains will be standing and people will be have a tendency to use the toilets when the train is standing. So not only that, we used to have this kind of situation, very ugly situation when human waste will be there on the track and a very bad stench will be coming. So we started working, as I told, in 1993 on working on toilets which will not discharge human waste on the tracks. So that was the prime objective. And in June 1993, the integral coach factory at Chennai, they put aerobic toilets in one of the coaches. In December of 1993, some vacuum toilets were one set of vacuum toilet was also tried, and again, another type of biotoilets by Integral Coach Factory was set up in 95. In 97, something called macerated discharge system was tried out. But somehow none of these worked in Indian Railways context. Simultaneously, there was lots of pressure on Indian Railways to stop this direct discharge of human waste on tracks, especially on the railway platforms. So, as a compromise, one technology called CDTS was adopted in May 2005. CDTS is basically control discharge toilet system. In this system, what was there that below the toilet pan, there used to be a very small storage kind of system where the human waste will be stored and it will be discharged after the train used to pick up around 20 kilometers of speed. There were speed sensors put for this for opening of the bottom of the control discharge toilet system. So basically, what was done was that the problem was shifted from railway station to outside on the main track. And this led to a very peculiar situation because invariably the speed of 20 kilometers after the train starts from station will be at a particular location. So that location used to have a huge dump of human waste, and that created associated problem of maintenance and other things. By 2007, 8 and 9, during that period, lots of pressure was there on railways to work out a solution because many stakeholders they got kind of um, after railways that public of course was there, courts were also giving strictures, media was there, parliament also questions were being asked, and there is an associated thing, something called commission for safai karamchari, minister of rural development, drinking water and sanitation, social justice and employment, housing and urban poverty elevation, cabinet, even our staff were also demanding that the situation should be improved. Because what used to happen, not only when human waste will fall on the trains, it will get splattered on the components which are below the sill, below the sachet portion of the coach. So people who used to go to maintain that brake system, suspension, and other things, they used to face lots of difficulties. In fact, I think many of you are aware of Wilson Zwada. He played a key role for development in the development in the sense that he worked for he put a court case which was basically not for railways. It was a pan India court case on elimination of manual scavenging, and in that, railway was also made a party because railway human waste was being discharged on track and then it was cleaned manually. So there was a writ petition in Supreme Court by his organization called Safai Karamchari Andolan versus Union of India. In that, railway was also made a party, and uh, in 2004, railways made a statement that we are going to concretize the platform tracks at the stations so that human cleaning can be avoided and the cleaning can be mechanized. So this was taken up on a very high priority, as a high priority item, and tremendous amount of many of the railway stations, they were converted from the normal ballasted track to a concretized track. And water jets and other things, the cleaning was kind of mechanized. As we talked about CDTS, that is controlled discharge toilet system, it was initially put in Rajdhani, Shatabdi and Duronto trains, and discharge was after 30 kmph speed. Problem was basically shifted away from station. So we kept on working and we tried to find out a solution which can, eliminate the discharge of human waste on the tracks. So that was the prime consideration in developing biotoilets. 2004 onwards, there were several parallel attempts made. There was a joint program with IIT Kharagpur with Professor Tare uh, with for zero discharge toilet system. Then DRDO, by that time, they had already developed bio toilets, and they were giving licenses to people. And of course, we were also trying out aerobic bacterial decomposition. It was so important that it figured in the budget speech of 2008, 2009, 2010, 2012. Various railway ministers, they covered in their budget speech that biotoilets are going to be installed. They are the priority of the railways. Up to 2013, Ms. Pawan Bansal was there, the minister. He also covered in his speech. In fact, there was interministerial pressure also. Mr. C.P. Joshi, who was the Minister of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj, he wrote to Mamata Banerjee ma'am, who was the Minister for Railways in 2009. So, Railway was making tremendous amount of efforts to make sure we find out a solution. But in Indian context, the solutions were not working very well. The IIT Kanpur solution also did not work out. uh, they were they suggested some vacuum technology, chemical technology, biological degradation, but none of these were working. So as of 2010, six technologies were simultaneously being tried out in different trains. Some of them were aerobic, anaerobic, some were enzyme based decomposition followed by UV, and there were plans to go for vacuum toilets also and other techniques. Now, vacuum toilets, there was an interesting thing we could never go ahead because what happened in vacuum toilet, the human waste is collected in tanks below the coaches, and ultimately you have to evacuate. So we did look for technology partners, and when we actually these evacuation can only be done at end. So we took out a train between Bhavnagar and Bombay, and when we talk to the municipality there that we are going to evacuate the full train and which is having human waste in various tanks and going to dump in the municipal system, municipality actually refused to give us permission. So these vacuum toilet trials were kind of abandoned because at the end of it we didn't have facility to handle the complete human waste of a full train. So, foreign solutions, there were many foreign parties which came and started to kind of give their solutions, but there was a problem. Uh, we are a country of a washer versus wipers, and we have longer journeys. Frequency of toilet uses is also higher in Indian context. We are having higher number of passengers. Our food contains more roughage, and the biggest problem which we kept on struggling for years onwards was that our toilets were taken as a garbage. So anybody and everybody will try to put whatever they felt like. But during these trials, what we found out that the DRDO toilet is working, it will work, and it is the best solution. And best part was that it was totally indigenous. The technology was developed by DRDO for Siachen use, and we worked on a MOU with the Ministry of Defense. We found out that the deployment was a problem because we were trying to force DRDO to do the engineering part also as well as the deployment. Now, Railways is very good at engineering and deployment, and DRDO, their life sciences division of Gwalior, they are very good in the life sciences part of it. So we decided there was a kind of a eureka moment when in the ministry we decided that we'll split. and let the DRDO focus on the bio part of it and the railways focus on the engineering, because the engineering is very complicated. In such a small space, you have to put a tank, and there are four tanks in on a coach. So we focused on engineering, and tremendous amount of work was done by the rail coach factory at the Kapurthala. And then this thing clicked and we started working. So we started with the MOU with DRDO. It was for joint technology development. It was signed in March 2010. And design and development was through a joint working group. And IPR was jointly owned. In fact, afterwards, railways made it a open source kind of thing. The whole design and of the tanks and everything was given to people. Anybody can make biotanks as per that and supply to us. So happy that Kambod sir has joined here. He was part of the joint working group along with me. And we used to have quarterly meetings with the railway, different operational units, and everybody, so that the development will go in a smoother manner. Lots of initial problems were there. We used to sit down and sort them out. So basically, DRDO has developed these biotoilets for Siachen deployment. Dr. Lokendra Singh was the scientist who was associated with this project. In fact, I had requested him to also join. He's retired since then, and he's not able to join. So, one special bacteria was brought from Antarctica. This was basically done so that the low temperature survivability of bacteria is there. And a special inoculum was devised. The very same uh, inoculum we had taken to Bundelkhand Express. That was the first train which we intensively monitored for deployment of biotoilets of DRDO. So basically, it working principle of inoculum is that it is an anaerobic process, and you have multiple chambers, and the human waste comes into the first chamber, and it kind of overflows into various chambers, so that we have the sufficient time for all the waste to get decomposed. And end of the thing, we get clear water, which is rich in nutrients. Being an anaerobic process, basically the sludge formation was minimal and hardly any scum was there. There was a venting pipe for the gas also, because methane gas will be formed during this process. This is in very short how the anaerobic system works. Human waste is acted upon by anaerobic bacteria, and CO2 plus methane gases are released to atmosphere. The liquid waste, it undergoes a bit of chlorination so that disinfected liquid is discharged outside on the railway track. System does not require oxygen and also does not require regular cleaning. In fact, though no electricity, no pumping, nothing is involved here. So this is the CAD drawing of 3D CAD drawing of coach where it is fitted. In railways, we have two type of coaches. One is the older generation ICF coaches. So this is a picture from ICF coaches. Uh, in LHB coaches, the newer design LHB coaches, it was a huge engineering challenge because of the peculiar space not being available there. And here also you see the biotanks are fitted just ahead of wheels. So it's a very difficult position. Not only that, each of the tank is weighing almost half a ton. So total weight penalty of almost 2 tons is added to a coach, which impacts the suspension of the coach also. So the engineering problems were simultaneously being solved along with the development of this. This is the one of the design which we started scaling up, because this design was basically effective. It was comprising of six chambers, and then outlet pipe was going through a chamber where we can chlorinate it with chlorine tablets. The DRDO, IRDRDO biotoilets, it has gone through several design iterations, and I think it was the fifth design which was taken up for scaling up. This is the initial when double toilet tank was made. Then this is single, and finally we kept on improving to reduce weight also, and making sure it is safe to run also. And this is the final design which we started deploying rapidly. One feature of this was this was having a very simple matrix inside built in, so that the bacteria will survive, and it can also survive any kind of shock loading, because sometimes the cleaning agents which are used in the toilet, which is on the top of the coach. They might either be used excessively or they might be harmful for the bacteria. So the bacteria which is in the solution in the water, it might die, but the bacteria which is deeply embedded into this matrix, it used to kind of revive and get back into action. Later on, we switched. It was almost simultaneously we switched on to non-chemical based cleaning agents, which were kind of organic cleaning agents. This is a coach fitted with biotanks. You can see at the end of the coach tanks are there. There are total four tanks each of the coach. Basically, it helped us in safe disposal of human waste. We stopped dropping human waste on the tracks. No bad smell was there in the toilet from the tanks, and effluent is free from offending odor and solid waste. Reduction of pathogens by 99% after chlorination was achieved, and the reduction in organic matter was by almost 90%. Um, no requirement of periodic addition of bacteria was there because the colony of bacteria became self-sustaining, and no need of frequent removal of residual solid waste was also there. It was compatible with existing cleaning agents, phenyl, etc. But afterwards, we moved to the bioenzyme kind of things. And bacteria and effluent both are were non-toxic. Acceptability by staff was there. Staff were very happy because human waste was not no longer coming down on various components. No electricity was required. It was very cost effective. The technology what we were trying to get from outside and implement were minimum almost 4 to 10 times the cost of what we developed, and no specialized manpower was required for maintenance. There was potential for reuse and recovery of the inoculum as well as the tank, and the O&M cost was operations and maintenance cost was very negligible. However, we had many challenges. Main amongst them was clogging because people were used to throwing stuff into the toilet. We used to get all kind of things which will go and clog the toilet, and because of that, there was problem of human waste, visible human waste as well as smell and all coming. And there was a serious engineering issue also during initial deployments when the mounting, that is the hooks which were used to mount the biotanks, they started failing. So we had to improve our engineering design also. And in case of AC coaches, there was an issue of redesigning of the suspension also. The biggest problem was retrofitment in old coaches. We started fitting in all the new coaches which were coming out of various factories of railways, but how to put it in the old coaches? That was a challenge, and because because in the older coaches there is a issue of corrosion, and then there was a issue of overhead welding of the brackets, safety brackets, and that was the reason why we could not increase our deployment during initial stages. So, clogging was because of various issues like polythene, napkins, bottle pouches, and like to give an example, in Bundelkhand Express between April and July 2012, 255 instances in 31 coaches were there when the toilets were clogged and we could not use them. So, average two coaches per trip were getting impacted because of. So, we improved, we made sure that the provision of dustbin is there, and we started educating people also. These kind of stickers were put, I think you might have noticed in when you travel nowadays in different trains, these kind of passenger education things, stickers are put. Even then, people do throw unwanted thing. The joint working group was basically under the leadership of Chief Design Engineer at Rail Coach Factory. It had DRD bioscientists also, and Indian Railways engineers were there. So this is the design for the LHB coach, which I was telling. It was very challenging. There was hardly any space, so it was not a regular kind of shape. It became a very complicated shape, and fitment also was very complicated. But we kept on introducing biotoilets. We just focused on the DRDO biotoilet. We stopped using other technologies, and we went on scaling up the deployment. So it started from 2010-11 in one train, then three trains, then four. And by 12-13, we had targeted that we'll put in 2,500 coaches. In fact, in the minister minister's speech, budget speech of 2012 February, it was informed that DRDO developed biotoilets will be under extended trial, and by next year, 2,500 coaches will be equipped with biotoilets. Now, please understand, we are talking railways is having almost that time was having almost 55 to 60,000 coaches, most of them running. Only 2,500 coaches we were trying to implement initially. This is the improvement which was brought in. You can see the coaches which were fitted with biodigester tanks, they hardly had any human waste coming on the end walls and all. This used to be the earlier condition. In the convention toilets used to have end walls getting splattered with human waste, and of course the components which were under the in chassis, it used to they used to also get impacted. These are some of the air hoses which are fitted with digester, and these are without digester. You can see so much of human waste used to come. Simultaneously, we were fighting court case in the Supreme Court. This court about the manual scavenging was going on. In 2011, a committee, joint secretary level committee, was made to address this issue. And in Delhi, this railway portion was given from Supreme Court to Delhi High Court. And on 10th of October 2012, a very important hearing was there, in which we informed the Delhi High Court that we are going to convert all Indian Railways coaches by 2021 by fitment of bio toilets. So problem was with infitment of the older coaches, because when we do the bracket, safety bracket for mounting bracket welding in the coaches, we do it in upside down condition. But we devised ways to put in the older coaches. And by 11, 12, we were already having bio toilets running in about 9 to 10 trains, traversing all across the country. In fact, during one of these periods around 2013, we realized that our deployment strategy is not correct, because in a very typical railway engineering fashion, what we were only chasing number of toilets. But then we decided that if the deployment is dispersed, we will never get to know uh, if any, it is making real impact on the ground. So we decided that we will take sector by sector and introduce biotoilets in all the trains of that sector. And we chose Delhi to Jammu Tawi sector first, and we completely converted all the trains on that sector to biotoilets, and it did made a impact. We saw that Jammu Tawi station and all those stations, they just stopped having human waste on the tracks. So there were several other challenges also. There is a screen grab. It's not very clear from a video in which we did a trial of, if the biotanks are provided, then how do we do any accident restoration in case of a derailment of a coach? How can you even put a jack, which are the heavy hydraulic jack for putting back the train on the track? So these kind of engineering challenges were there, and scaling up was a problem. So we developed lots of vendors, because this tank were lightweight, made of special steel, 302 steel, and welding was very critical. And we insisted that laser welding only has to be done on these tanks, so that they are always safe, and we cannot have unsafe situation where that any of the bio tank kind of falls down on a track, and there is a derailment because of this issue. We opened up our design, gave it to everybody, drawings, everything, manufacturing drawings, we gave it to everybody so that they can ramp up the production. We found that bacteria was getting a constraint, so we started making our own bacteria with the help of DRDO. We set up inoculum generation facility. In fact, this drawing, Kamboj, I dug out this drawing. It is signed by you only, Mr. D.V. Kamboj, as a scientist from DRDO. He has signed this drawing in 2012. This was given to us for generating the bacteria, and we used to get the mother inoculum from DRD lab, Life Sciences lab in Gwalior, and we started making our own bacteria so that we can scale up the deployment in a very fast manner. Another challenge what we found was that there was no effluent norms. When we went to CPCB, they simply raised their hands and they told, "Ki, we don't have anything. You do your own uh, norms." So we started. making our own norms based on the sample what we were getting. But it was a challenge. We tried many permutation combination, and of course, we were not kind of sanitation engineers or sanitation scientists. So there were many problems. And initially, but natural, we started taking the STP output norms and we started adopting them. But very soon we realized that we cannot be a STP. You cannot with a small tank in running at 100 120 kmph in a train. You cannot do the STP level treatment. So we focus that basically we should focus on the norms which meet our basically requirement that human waste should not fall. So finally, the effluent norms evolved, and currently we only check about pH and COD and fecal cuneiform. These three parameters only are being monitored. In fact, during that period, there was because of lots of commercial interest, people were trying to shoot down this IRDRDO project, and people were raising all kind of bogeys, you can say. And one of the thing was that that methane is produced in anaerobic decomposition of human waste, so there will be fire in the coaches. So this was also tested and this was put to rest. And once again, Kambodge sir has signed and issued this letter that the flow rate of biogas is much lesser than it can create any kind of problem. Then this issue was there. What happens if the discharge goes to the river and all? Interestingly, when I did a study, I found out that Indian rivers all are having much more bad water quality than what we were discharging. But even though we made toxicology studies which were conducted by DRDO, and it was done as per OECD norms, test guidelines, and as per FDA good labs practices, and we found out that both in the terrestrial as aquatic fauna, it is not toxic. Whatever discharge and as well as bacteria as well as effluents were there, they are not having any toxic efforts. So, on 19th of November 2012, simultaneously, this court intervention was also going on. So, an affidavit was filed. In fact, this is personally signed by me. And we made a commitment that by 2021-22, we are going to completely switch over to biotoilets and there will be no human waste discharge on tracks. So, this is one of the things where railways have been able to meet its commitment to the court and to the nation, where we have been able to completely eliminate human waste discharge by 21-22. And in fact, it's a very interesting thing. The gentleman who used to call Indian Railways as the biggest open toilet uh, uh, in world. Afterwards, we started interacting with him. In fact, I was going and interacting with him, and myself along with Dr. Loken Singh, we were trying to guide Jairam Ramesh sir on the open defecation free problems of how to fit toilets in rural areas and other things. So the whole thing has come a full circle. Of course, by 2013, this is my monitoring sheet with which we used to monitor the deployment and everything. And by July 2013, when I finally left the ministry, we had already completed 2,500 installations of biotoilets. This was very critical, and I was very particular about this number because there was so much competition and so much of, you can say, backstabbing going on by commercial interest. We have realized that if we deploy 2,500 biotanks, after that, it will not be possible to kind of roll it back. So that's what it happened. And simultaneously, in the courts, the Manual Scavenging Act was modified, and uh, in 2013, railways also became kind of officially party to that. And after that, by that time, actually by 2013, this problem was already being addressed, and currently we don't have any kind of human waste directly dropping on the. So this is the deployment pattern, and as of December 2025, my colleague from ministry has shared data with me. There are deployment of more than 3 lakh bio toilets in more than 1 lakh coaches. So we have the current population of coaches on Indian Railways will be, I think, 70,000 plus. So we have deployed in many more coaches because many of the coaches they have kind of gone end of their life and they have taken off. So this is the kind of picture at our railway stations now. Concrete aprons are there, but you will never find any human waste getting dropped on stations. This is another picture. Both are from Bangalore, and the stations have become very clean, and there is no stench. That typical stench of a railway station is a history. And perhaps, in fact, the younger generation, they will not even understand what kind of situation used to be there on railway tracks earlier. So we have stopped this phenomena of something called golden shower. People who are older, they will remember that whenever train used to pass over a bridge, nobody will cross it because, human waste is likely to fall on you. But nowadays it's no longer there. There's an overflow. Because of overflow, little discharge is there of the effluent, but it is not harmful in any manner. So biotoilets has been a very, very significant development for the railways, for the nation. It's not as glamorous as Vande Bharat, which is, in all the social media and everything. But we did manage to address more than a centuries old problem, almost century and a half old problem of dumping human waste on the railway track by a very, very basic kind of toilet, which was effectively hole in the floor. We have matured, and I think today, ninth or tenth iteration of the original design of bio toilet India IRDRDO biotoilets is deployed. Now it has been made a little bit high tech. It has become bio vacuum, but the fundamental remains same. So with this, I come to conclusion. Uh, Indian Railways has tackled its problem of waste, human waste getting dumped on the tracks, but Indian Railway, unfortunately, even after open defecation free and everything, still you may find one odd occasion where the railway itself is being used as a toilet by outsiders. Now we can't do anything about it. Perhaps it's a more reflection of the society and the country which we live in, but we have managed to solve this problem. So with this, I conclude my session, and now I know lots of stalwarts with guns and cannons and daggers are there for questions. I will request Kambod sir to kindly come on and join me in fielding the questions, because I will be able to tackle the science part, little bit of science part, engineering part, yes, the project part I can, but I'll need help of uh, Kambod sir for telling me details about the science part of it. So I just stop sharing, and before I stop sharing, I'll put this slide. Composer, I think you can use it for explaining the science of the biotoilets.
Good evening, Mr. Ajay. Am I
Over to
audible?
you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. D.V. Kamboj. So I was involved since the beginning of this project. Let me first give compliments to Mr. Ajay Singh that in spite of he being retired, even after that, he is so much well versed about this topic that even I forgot many of the things which were related to this particular project. But he is still remembering and he is still continuing with this particular project as well as other water and sanitation technological aspects of the human society. So he has asked me to actually explain this particular slide. Actually, this is the science part of this particular anaerobic digestion technology, wherein the organic waste undergoes 4 different steps, which are called as hydrolysis, acidogenesis, acetogenesis, and methanogenesis. The first part is hydrolysis, wherein the complex molecules are broken down into the simpler compounds, which you will find here is written as sugars, fatty acids, and amino acids. Then in the second part, these simple organic compounds are converted into acids, mainly carbonic acids or hydrogen H2S, H2SO4 or sulfuric acid or HCl. Then this acidogenesis part is converted into acetogenesis part, wherein mainly the hydrogen, acetic acid, and carbon dioxide are present. And from these 3 simple precursors, these are converted into the methane component. So basically, these are the 4 different steps. And the first 2 steps, which are hydrolysis and acidogenesis, are a little robust as compared to acidogenesis and methanogenesis, which are very sensitive, because because these two steps do not take place independently, and they are dependent on each other. Acidogenesis part is dependent on the methanogenesis part, and methogenesis part is dependent on the acidogenesis part. So if anything is uncontrolled, then the whole actually process stops, and the decomposition doesn't take place as well as it has to be. It has to take place. So this is about this particular slide. Over to you, Mr. Ajay.
So I think we'll take questions now. Shall I? I think I will first address the questions which have come in chat box. So
Ajay,
basically,
Ajay sir, Apurva, please keep the slide on. There are questions about this.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm not stopping the slide.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
keeping
sir.
it there.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
So
Chat.
we basically we have a response from Chandrasekharan sir, and he is told that it fails and is failing. The stench also stays as water is too much flushed. The inoculum becomes inefficient. Madras gave a report on IIT Madras gave a report on failure of the biotoilets in train, and he has further suggested that it should be made of specialty lighter material. So let me tell you, Chandrasekhar sir, I was and I am fully convinced that this works because I have personally got the tanks unloaded and open in front of me after a train journey after about 8 to 10 hours, and I've seen that in the final chamber no human waste is available. There are problems, and problems are mainly what used to happen was initially, and even now sometime what happens, there is a connector between the coach body and the biotank. Sometime it gives away, and it is also happening because of the clogging which is taking place when people are throwing stuff there, and when cleaning, what happens if the unlike the aircrafts in which if a toilet fails, the toilet is simply sealed. We try to clear it, and there are onboard staff who do the cleaning, and sometimes they will put some rod or something inside it and puncture. So if that is happening, then the smell is there. If a bio toilet is working properly, there will be no smell. That's for I have seen it personally, and lots of my colleagues will agree with me. And it doesn't fail. And this six-chamber design is specially made so that any kind of shock can be taken by the bacteria. And in worst case scenario, we have seen is a simple recharge of around 20 liters to 50 liters of bacteria inoculum is good enough to put it back in action. As far as your query about lighter material is there, this is a very these tanks are produced with very specialized steel, which which is having very high strength to weight ratio, and HDP is not going to work there. At 120 kilometers kmph train, when it is running, a simple stone, when it flies off, it will puncture HDP in no way. It is just like a bird hit for an aircraft. So it has to be stainless steel, and I think we have optimized that design. Uh, Let me see if any other question is there. Abhilash Trambak is saying, sir, is it not possible to integrate the bio toilets in undercoach design to do away with problem of overhanging clamps? It's a engineering problem, Trambak. I'll request you to kind of discuss it separately with me. Uh, we These tanks basically are part of subsystems which are always attached to the coach. They are not integral part of the coach. I will pause there and let me see. Do we have enough bacteria inoculum capacity for these boy toilets? Yes, we have more than enough. Most of the railway units which are making coaches, they are having in-house inoculum generation facility, and there are people who can supply from outside also. Then Venkat is saying, you mentioned that this cannot be compared to STP norms. Can it be compared to microbes-based anaerobic STPs? Technically, are there any differences apart from the fact that there is moving structure compared to a building STP that is stationary? Also, can the emitted methane be captured and turned to biogas? Now, Venkat, basically, there is no comparison with STP because for any kind of STP, the volume plays a very, very important role. We can never get that kind of volume in case of trains. And as I have already covered, the emission of methane is minuscule, so it cannot be captured and turned to biogas. There is another deep engineering consideration there, that because we try to keep the design as simple as possible. See, basic purpose is that it should take in human waste and not allow human waste to drop on the track. We can, of
Ajayji,
course,
Ajayji,
yes,
I just want to add one more thing regarding your reply to this particular query.
ha, ha,
That STPs are a complex structure of different structure of many different components actually. One is
yes,
two are the actually they are aerobic, anaerobic. Then there are refining systems, purification
yes,
systems, 3, 4, 5, 6 in tandem. So these huge structures are there, and here in railway, under the railway coaches, we have space constraint. We have only the limited around 300 350 liter of volume available for all the things to do. So if we get the enough volume, then we also can meet the STP specifications which have been laid down by the NGT and the CPCB. But because of the space constraint, we are not able to, or the railways is not able to meet those specifications. Of course, that can be done because by putting in tandem various polishing mechanisms, that can also be achieved.
yeah. So I think Kamboji very nicely covered that portion, and of course, there is a huge power overhead for STPs which cannot be done in a coach. Ramkumar sir has asked about the inoculum bacteria. Can we use it in septic tank in residential areas? I think Kamboji covered that. It is there. And in fact, in railways, we have certain installation where we have taken a bio toilet and used it in a office complex. It is there in Ajmer workshop. We have
Even
taken the
Nagpur
discharge.
also,
Nagpur, yes, that is the Moti Bagh workshop also. It has
Motibag
been
also.
done, and now I am helping my colleagues to kind of replicate it at other places also. So
Can,
Ramkumar sir, I
yeah,
can share that details with you.
can we use in residential complexes and all that for simplicity?
Definitely, it can be used.
Yeah,
Let me see if any other questions in chat box are there. Then we will take one is to one. Uh, gr- um, how often bio toilets are inspected by cleaning staff? So cleaning staff, bio toilets, basically what happens, there is some onboard staff which takes care of the pan and other things that is for the toilet. But the tank, normally what happens, only in case there is some problem of discharge or any smell is coming, then only, out. See, a typical train every third day or fourth day, it will go to what is called a coaching depot. Here it will be examined. So if any problem is there, so normally we tend to, any physical damages there, that will be taken care of. Any bacteria impaction is there, then we'll add some inoculum. And after every 1.5 to 2 years, these coaches go for major overhaul, where the coach is basically stripped of all its sub assemblies, and then we make it. So that time only the complete bio tank is flushed, cleaned, and refilled with the fresh inoculum. Cleaning of during schedule. Okay, so I think Venkat is talking about using this technology to provide treated water for data center cooling needs, for thereby replacing freshwater needs. I think Venkat, I think many things can be done, and data centers are requiring some extra, very clean water. Of course, this can be at the preliminary stage. It has to be a multi-stage cleaning process, and then only it can be used for data center application for cooling purpose. So I think chat boxes. That's it in chat boxes. If any other questions are there, we can discuss.
Ajay sir, Apurva here. I want you to comment on the flushing system because that is just as revolutionary as this toilet design. The current flushing system is like an aircraft. It's a vacuum
Okay,
toilet. Yes, that has helped sanitation to a very large extent. It's
okay.
as good as the aircraft toilet. Yeah.
So that addresses the question of excess flushing. Now what we are having is we are having pneumatic flushing. So it's not like vacuum. Vacuum is the next generation, but in pneumatic flushing, what happens? The water is kind of aerated and flushed, so that the volume of water which goes inside the biotank is reduced. This is one of the later developments. Yes, of course, Arup, I think I should add that point also as part of the design evolution, Apurva.
Because
Thanks for
somebody like me, a railway enthusiast, I've traveled about 40,000 kilometers in 2 years, all
yeah,
on trains, and there are days, 4 days, 5 days on the train. So toilet is my only toilet is the train toilet, and I can tell
yeah.
you that the new design really works well. And
Thank you so
very,
much.
its only problem is that people don't want to flush. You may be in
Yeah,
first AC, but they don't want to press that button. So it's the
yeah.
user and not the railways.
Actually, in case of especially sanitation, I repeat this thing that you cannot throw a product and solve sanitation problem. Sanitation is basically a service. So there is lots of human element involved. The behavioral change element is involved. Even now, you will find that people they take that Bisleri bottle and use it for washing, and afterwards they will not touch it, leave it as it is. So it will end up in the pan and it creates problem. Of course. Railways now the toilets are becoming lesser of a dump. Otherwise, it was like a garbage. Anybody and everybody they will throw all kind of stuff. Initial composer will remember we used to take out you know bed sheets, chappal,
Arre baap re.
napkins. I don't know what all we used to get out of the toilets. In the pickpockets, they will take the purse and take the money and put the purse in the toilet.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was something very interesting to this project to make sure it happens. It was almost mission impossible for us.
Yeah.
रावल जी प्रणाम आपके आपके बाउंसर्स का बेसब्री और थोड़ा दिल की धड़कनों के साथ इंतजार है Kamboj sir, introducing you, Raval sir. Raval ji is a limnologist and he's our Bhishma Pitama as far as the science part of is concerned.
Oh, very nice to hear this.
And uh, and I was scared of his questions. That's why I requested you must join for this talk.
No.
I don't know whether I'll be able to stand.
No,
Can we bring it to? Can we remove the screen now so that we
okay,
can talk with each other?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir. I
please.
just have just one question on this. At the end of the fourth day, when it is in a coaching depot, how do you
Yeah,
check whether the bacteria is okay or not okay? Is there a port? Is there a sample that you can take from the
yeah,
tank?
yeah. So that is their sampling protocols are there. It is part of the maintenance. But I keep telling everybody it is very, very simple. It should not smell.
Okay, if the smell is there, then
If the smell is there, that means something is wrong.
there is something, right?
That
Okay.
means your digester is not working. So it is
Uh,
very simple. I mean, of course, you can do the testing and all the protocols and everything. But my thing is, first and foremost, you should not see the color of it you see and the smell you see. You will be able to tell whether it's working or not. It's very simple.
right, right. Absolutely.
Over to you, Raval sir.
Can we bring down everybody? I mean, on the screen so that we can.
मैं हटा
discuss?
देता हूँ मैं हटा देता हूँ जी
Ajay sir, just
stop
stop sharing. Stop sharing.
okay
Bas, yeah.
okay I'm slightly technologically challenged
अजय
जी
साहब
हेलो गुड इवनिंग सर।
आप
श्रीराम
बोलिए बोलिए श्रीराम जी बोलिए आप
सर
बोलिए मैं बाद में बोलूँ।
सर मेरा एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन है सर। हमने एक वर्कशॉप में देखा था कि जो शेड्यूल ओवरऑलिंग के लिए जब कोचेज जाते हैं तो उसका जो मैट है सर, जो इनोकुलम का जो मैट है
हाँ
उसको
हाँ
क्लीन का मतलब वाटर से पूरा क्लीन करते हैं सर। तो ऐसा क्या रिकमेंडेड है सर? क्योंकि ऑलरेडी उसमें बैक्टीरिया है, तो अगर हम
हाँ
क्लीन करेंगे तो बैक्टीरिया तो ऑलरेडी वो मर जाएगा सर।
नहीं आप बात कर रहे होंगे वर्कशॉप की
वर्कशॉप तो यस सर।
हाँ तो वर्कशॉप में पूरा टैंक पूरा सब कुछ क्लीन करके हम पूरा नया इनोकुलम रिचार्ज करते हैं तो देर इज नो हार्म वी इट इज गुड टू क्लीन इट अप यू
वाई सर
रीस्टैब्लिश द
मतलब?
कॉलोनी
ओके
हाँ
ठीक है, मतलब ये रिकमेंडेड है कि हमें क्लीन करना है टोटली।
श्री राम
हाँ
जी,
क्लीन करना है
अजय जी,
ओके
मैं
सर।
थोड़ा बोलूं इस बारे में।
हाँ प्लीज 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 हाँ
ये एक्चुअली मिसनोमर है, कहीं कहीं कुछ क्रीप इन कर गया है कि हमें बिल्कुल कंप्लीटली क्लीन करना है, इसको शीशे की तरह से साफ करना है। ऐसा
ओके
नहीं है एक्चुअली में। टैंक को साफ करना है, बट जो मैट पार्ट है, मैट पार्ट में जो ओरिजिनल इनोकुलम अगर जो रखा हुआ है वहां पे फिल्म बनी हुई है, तो उसको ना साफ करेंगे तो ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा, बिकॉज वो अच्छा है। क्योंकि
ओके
अभी क्या होगा, जब दोबारा से हम उसमें अगर जो क्लीन कर देंगे उसको, तो जो इनोकुलम उसमें है वो खत्म हो जाएगा और हमें नया स्टार्ट
sir.
करना पड़ेगा। और जितने भी बायोडिग्रेडेशन सिस्टम्स हैं, पर्टिकुलरली एनारोबिक बायोडिग्रेडेशन सिस्टम्स हैं, उनका स्टार्टअप बड़ा डिफिकल्ट होता है, उसी
Okay.
समय जो है वो फेल होते हैं। अगर जो
Okay.
एक बारी जो सिस्टम है वो पुराना हो गया तो उसके फेल्योर के चांसेस उतने ही कम हो जाते हैं, क्योंकि वो
अच्छा
स्टेबलाइज हो जाता है। तो
ओके
इसलिए मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है, मैं बार बार जब भी आपके लोगों से मिलता हूं तो ये कहता हूं कि उस मैट को कम से कम क्लीन ना करें।
ओके
सर
सो
तो इसके बारे में
श्रीराम
मतलब कुछ, यस सर, आई गॉट इट सर, बट इसके लिए एक क्लियर कट गाइडलाइंस होने से ज्यादा सुविधा होगा सर,
श्रीराम
बिल्कुल
क्योंकि
बिल्कुल।
ये
आप थैंक यू वेरी मच आपने पॉइंट किया है आई विल मेक श्योर दैट दिस इज इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इन द प्रैक्टिस मेंटेनेंस प्रैक्टिस मैं रेलवे बोर्ड में बात करके आई विल गेट नेसेसरी पॉलिसी लेटर्स इशूड थैंक्स फॉर
कैमटेक
ब्रिंगिंग दिस अप
2022-23 में नया एक मैनुअल लेके आने वाला था, मुझे मुझे अभी पता नहीं है कि वो आया है कि नहीं आया है।
हाँ
उसमें हमने
नहीं आया।
स्पेसिफिकली इसको पॉइंट आउट किया है।
ओके ठीक है मीनवाइल आई एम इन टच विद मेनी वर्कशॉप्स मैं सबको आई विल टेल देम अबाउट दिस प्रैक्टिस
Ajay sir, one question is about now that the railways are going to Kashmir and it is
Apurva,
very.
Apurva,
Yes, sir.
I request you to park your question because there is a line and
All right, sir.
रावल जी
Yes, sir.
बहुत
Yes,
देर
sir.
से वेट कर रहे
आप
हैं
बताइए
उसके
पूछे.
बाद रेड्डी सर के पास आएंगे
Yes, sir.
जी
मेरा
सर
थोड़ा लंबा होगा, तो जो अभी नारायण साहब, रेड्डी साहब ने कुछ हाथ रेस किया है, तो लेट हिम हैव द चांस, बिकॉज आई हैव लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स टू डिस्कस विथ यू व्हिच मे नॉट, द टाइम
ओके
मे नॉट परमिट हियर। बट कंबोज साहब की एक बात मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी, द ओनली साइंटिफिक स्टेटमेंट ही मेड is not to clean,
नॉट टू क्लीन यस
because everything else was non-scientific. It was a mechanical challenge, yes, of course, very complex and very tight space-wise. But then biochemistry and microbiology and all other things we'll take up later. Abhi Reddy साहब को सुन ले पहले.
जी
Sir, good evening, sir. Ajay ji.
नमस्ते
Namaste. This system really you have done a wonderful job in the this human waste management. But one problem, end of the process, you are discharging where you are discharging the point. The water or the effluent, whatever it is coming out from the coach, is discharged at the end point where it is going.
so it is continuously discharged there is it's
Means
not collected and discharged
no. Continuously means even in a the discharge can be taken place even in the if that is the continuous process. Even the railway the station also it can discharge.
it is yes it is getting discharged
In the railway station also.
railway station on the running track it is getting discharged yes
Only on the running. Running means it is not in the station. It is outside that
No, no,
station.
no. It is getting. See what is happening. It's like a. You can say it's not controlled discharge. When the flushing is done, then the level in the first
That
chamber.
inside okay. Inside okay. My question is not inside. Inside excellent. You have done a wonderful job in this treatment system. But the treatment is not up to the end. There is a still pending. That is your microbial. This thing is the 10 to the power 7 is very high, and your COD or that BOD is 1800 is very high. This is not acceptable to discharge wherever in the atmosphere. My point is that where to discharge this your plan in your plan. I did not hear that your discharging point from the total train. Where is the discharging point of this waste, whole waste? After the treatment, it is going in every coach, and finally where it has to go.
It is getting discharged through and through wherever train is going.
Oh, it means you meant to say it is on the way, it is going.
It is. It is. See, a basic thing is when you flush, then little bit will overflow. So it overflows
It's a
from the final
plug-in.
chamber.
It's a plug system. First come,
Huh.
first go.
Yes.
That is okay, but when you are discharging into environment with 10 to the power 7 bacterial count and 1800 BOD, is environmental damage is there, that for that
There will
area.
be no. There will be no very
There is
minimum
there.
environmental damage. Why I am saying is because it is getting discharged on track. It is getting kind of spread out and hardly anything is there. So the bacteria will get killed in that environment. At the railway station also, the discharge is very less, and it is controlled, and it goes to the drain. These drains are connected to sewage systems.
No, that can be controlled. As a matter of fact, when you are there in the station, that wall can automatically close it. When a train is running only, you said that it will be opened.
No. Please understand. It, as Raval sir is saying, it is a normal plug system, and that closing of valve and all was in the older technology called control discharge. This is not control discharge. This is a open discharge.
Then that problem will be there in the station also. What was earlier, it is there because this whole system is not 100% treated. It's
So
not.
that is Reddy sir, that is the kind of perspective which I want to set right, that the whole idea is not to make it, as per
No,
the STP output. So the idea is you take it so that the human waste will not fall on the thing, and the thing will be totally non-offensive. It goes, and then finally at the station we have the system of drainages which capture, and we have a STP at all the major stations where it is treated.
Yeah. Till that time, it should not be discharged on the way.
Can we move on? Can we move on?
I think
that is the thing.
Ajay sir, only one small point.
uh,
In the bridges which do not have the canopy below,
yeah.
can it fall on people? Will it create problem with the discharge?
So please understand what I'm trying to say is, if you go and you when you do Ganga Snan, I think you are
Correct.
getting more impacted.
I know.
This
That's
little bit of sprinkle will not do anything.
Will
So
not do
let's
it.
not see. Ultimately, we have to arrive upon a practical solution.
Wonderful.
So
You're right.
I'm not trying. I'm not making any claim that I'm going to give an
And
output of STP.
Ajay ji, I
Ji,
want to add one more thing to this.
हाँ,
To everyone, this is not the ultimate solution. This is the first
yes.
step which the railways has taken to set right the problem. Now, I always say that this up to this stage they have brought it. This is the first stage. Now, second, third, fourth phase can come up and improve the effluent quality. But unfortunately, across the world, no such technology is available which can improve upon this particular effluent discharge quality parameters. So now, as earlier we were living with the solid discharge on the tracks itself, now we have come to this far. Now, other technologies have to come up for improving the quality of the system, the discharge quality of the system. So this is the way. And second thing, which Mr. Reddy was pointing out, that it will be thrown on the platform itself, stations itself. One unique thing I observed actually, when the trains are running now, the vibrations happen, and due to vibrations, actually some around 5 to 10 liters of space is created inside the tank. So whenever a person is using on the platform itself, practically nothing comes out on the platform, because the train maximum time it stays for 5 to 10 minutes, and within those 5 to 10 minutes only one or hardly two persons can use it. And using flush of 1.5 liters or so, this no water will come out from the tank, though it is a plug kind of system, first in first out kind of the system, as Mr. Rawal has pointed out.
This is not a big problem, sir. What I said is that it is very easily can be controlled. Only when the train reaches a minimum for 10 kilometers speed, at that time only the discharge valve will open. Otherwise, it will shut. Till that time, it will remain in the tank.
But at present,
But
there
very
is no
simple,
provision.
very simple mechanics. Mechanism here. Very simple automation is this. Not at a big cost. Also, very small cost.
Yes, this can be
Negligible
improved
cost.
upon.
Negligible cost. You can put an automatic system. When the RPM reaches to the higher level, the train goes to the 10 kilometer speed, at that time only it will discharge. But my point is not that. Another point is that this can be, as you say, you said that in the second way, that is in between, it is discharged to collected and discharged someplace without anaerobic tank, etc. I think that is the best way. Earlier days, when coal we were using for the this one train running, people used to collect at the water stations. Not all stations water filling. Then with certain stages, water filling was there. Similar way, we can have certain stations for discharge of the waste. You can have like that. And this treatment also in the train, because you are sucking or it is contaminated with the air. Oxygen is entered somehow or other in the system, the mechanism what you explained. It's a wonderful job you have done, but still there is a gap in that, is that this system will not function thoroughly because of that bacteria will get die when oxygen enters into the system. Is anaerobic bacteria, very sensitive. Aerobic is very robust, but anaerobic is very sensitive. So my feeling, I mean, I'm not telling that I'm master in this or any of these things. You have done a wonderful job. So much of this
Ajay,
thing you have done. You can have in between, like earlier water stations, like that you can have a discharge stations for this thing, not in the prime places like village area, etc., where the population is not there. You can have a treatment plant also, there is no issue. That's my feeling. Thank you.
तो आई थिंक डालमिया जी ने बहुत देर से हाथ खड़ा किया है। भाई राहुल जी, आप अनुमति दे तो डालमिया जी पहले।
Sir, I was wishing that you would share some information about the mechanical flushing. As far as I understand, the braking system has a 10 bar pressure, and how you regulate the pressure for flushing, as well as how you regulate it in such a way that water is added to the tanks at specific places. Because under 10 bar pressure, normally an ordinary pipe cannot, overhead tank water will not enter your sumps used for flushing on the way. And the other thing is these tablets which are used as the final bacterial count conditioning. Usually they were imported from China. Are these tablets made in India, or we are still importing them? These are my two questions. I would like to, you throw some light on how the system works today.
I think little bit of engineering you are interested in. So pressurization जो है वो ब्रेक सिस्टम का ही bleed off लेके there is a pressure reducing valve उसके थ्रू होता है। अधिकतर कोचेस में और शुरू के मॉडल्स में नहीं लगा था pressurized flushing system. Afterwards it was put, and then there is a reduction, and then I am not remembering exact values, but the amount of उसको lower करके फिर आप उसको pressurize करते हैं. If you're interested, I can send you separately details of that system. Chlorine ka, I'm unable to answer that, whether it is still we are getting from China or we are making it in India. Both questions, the chlorine specifically, I'm not able to.
Chlorine, you need not worry, sir. We are here to supply you. Indian pharma is able to supply anything. Why you go to China after all for chlorine tablet?
Okay.
Sir, 99% of the chlorine used for swimming pools is imported.
Certain scientific conflicting inputs. Let's stick to the basics.
Sir.
Chlorine is not required. It will destroy all the processes because all the bacteria will die. There are very few who are chlorine resistant, only they can survive. So let's not talk about chlorine here.
Yes, sir. You are right, sir.
We are in the middle of the process. Chlorine comes at the end of the process.
It is just before final discharge.
It is
number two.
100%, sir.
That's apart. The second thing, the no order or order-free claim needs to be really, really understood. Your chemical chart says feces to acetate. If acetate is there, before that hydrogen sulfide is released. So iron and sulfur, Fe and sulfur behavior precedes acetate stage, number one. And in biological term, the primary process is over only when H2S is released. So I accept your observation on no order, but that inference is not scientific. The process has not begun. So there is no H2S released, and therefore there is no smell, number one. So talking about going to the acetate stage and onward is all finished. Number two, the hydrolysis is a fermentation step scientifically. And fermentation is a quiescence zone. It's a zero turbulent condition. And there is nothing like zero turbulent condition in the train when it is moving. Number one. Number two, inoculum needs to be understood. Inoculum has a place when there is only one community of microbe is involved. Now feces, which is a complex carbohydrate material and some proteins and mucus and all that, from there to acetate is one group of communities, more than 400 communities, bacterial communities. Acetate 2CH4 is methanogens, and therefore it is known as methanogenesis, the process that leads to generation of methane. Now, methane generation is a very serious, Kamboj साहब ने बोला था, you see, it is a very slow dividing microbe, archaea basically, it's not bacteria. And it takes minimum 45 days for methanogens to multiply. But more seriously, human feces have no methanogens. Let us understand, these are typical textual chemical flowcharts given world over because it is written by the engineers and chemical engineers. It's like a relay race. In a relay race, we have suppose 4 runners. You can culture one. You cannot culture 2 under the same conditions because the member number 2 needs a different condition. Therefore, all the 4 stages of a relay race, each member needs to be cultivated, or in a familiar term, cultured, under different set of conditions. And that condition only appears in situ. There is no laboratory condition which can provide identical ideal condition for a variety of group of microbial communities. आप 1 लीटर दीजिए में, what we are talking, even airlines and all that, it's a transfer. It's not treatment. Vacuum is again, we want to see the commode and vessels clean. So it is a cleansing mechanism. It's not a chemical treatment. थोड़ा बेसिक्स तय नहीं करेंगे तो ये कभी इन आया नगर एंड ऑल दैट जब शीला दीक्षित जी was the CM and Professor Ashish Ganju, unfortunately we lost him in the first COVID wave. DRDO people refused to even answer their letters and mails and phone calls. The evidence is more prominent where none of the railway colonies or defense colonies have their own bio-toilet treatment processes, STPs. I googled it today. सवाल ये है कि कंबोज साहब ने कहा कि there are so many areas which have to be looked into, but all of them will have to come together and train or any moving aircraft or something. It does not provide the very first step of quiescence. So fermentation doesn't happen, period. In our own house, if you take a small vessel of milk, put inoculum, lactobacilli, and then put a stirrer every 30 seconds, something will stir it for 2 seconds and see whether you have curd available. Simple. गंवार की मैं बात कर रहा हूं. And I have raised these issues with many people. None of them have said, yes, fermentation can happen under stirring, constant stirring. So we can't change the physics and chemistry, sir. Methanosarcina burkeri is the only member of archaea, which is a methanogen, which can be cultured under ideal laboratory conditions, but that's a very recent development. But archaea alone, methanogens alone cannot, you culture a box full of archaea, put it in the toilet, nothing will happen. because the feces will not come to acetate stage. ये आप कृपया करके डीआरडीओ की जो साइंटिस्ट है उसके साथ मुझे वो मिथेनोजेन की जो पेंगुइन ड्रॉप्स की पूरी कहानी सब हिस्ट्री मुझे मालूम है। सवाल ये है कि आपके पास ये सवाल है तो इंडिया का सीवेज ट्रीटमेंट का प्रॉब्लम होना ही नहीं चाहिए। Railway colonies and defense colonies should provide an ideal role model sewage treatment plant. कहीं भी नहीं है। I googled it today.
बात एकदम सही है, कहीं भी नहीं है, क्योंकि ये लेकिन यस आई थिंक कंबोज सर, हम लोग इसको लेके आगे बढ़ाते हैं कि बायो टॉयलेट का जो कोर रख के इसके आगे कैसे इसको बनाया जाए कि ये
Sir,
ट्रीटमेंट प्रॉपर।
bio toilet, is there anything like non-bio toilet? I have a problem with terminology.
टर्मिनोलॉजी में आपकी बात मान रहा हूँ, ऐसा है,
अच्छा,
उसको बायो टॉयलेट, ग्रीन टॉयलेट, इन्वायरमेंट फ्रेंडली टॉयलेट, बहुत सारे
no,
नाम दिए गए
what is
हैं।
green? What is green, sir?
हम
Green is close to the nature.
या
And there is nothing close to the nature. अच्छा, एक बात और कहूं आपको, for methane generation, carbon nitrogen ratio is 22 to 26 carbon per 1 nitrogen. Human feces has 6 or 8 carbon to 1 nitrogen. We are a nitrogen dominant discharging organisms. Nothing will ever happen. There will not be a single methane molecule after 10 years. Because where will the extra carbon come from? ऐसी बातें ना करें सर, because you are a very eminent organization, and one statement will be accepted by many throughout the country, but let there be some substance in that. There is no methane generation possible with even 10 carbon to 1 nitrogen ratio.
Sir, can I come in?
या प्लीज।
ठीक है आप
Raval ji, you have said so many things, so many scientific things, but I beg to differ with you in many of the things. Yeah, in fact, mean most of the things. You said that fermentation cannot take place under agitated conditions. This is not correct. You gave the example.
please.
You gave the example of curd, है ना? In curd, curdling is required. That is why we cannot agitate it or shake it. But in other fermentation process, mixing is always done for better fermentation process, right? And you said that human beings do not contain methanogens. This is also wrong.
It will take 2 years. First methane molecule will appear after 2 years.
I have listened very patiently to your arguments. Now listen to me now. Human beings have a population of methanogens inside the gut. If you don't know, kindly check in the literature. Right? Third thing, you said that human feces cannot be degraded because it doesn't favor the CN ratio doesn't favor this. But world over it is being done. World over it is being done. It is not that the CN ratio, if it is not 20:1, it will not be done. The process may differ, the process may become inefficient also, but it is not that it will not be done. Then you said that archaea can only this Mithanosarsine barkeri is there, which can be cultured. You are again wrong. So many cultures are available of different genus and species in many of the repositories. In Pune, one repository is there. In Chandigarh, another repository is there. So I have procured those cultures also.
I agree with you, sir. But the point is the population multiplication rate is important.
Again, now let me make you aware that you said that 45 days are required. The doubling time of methanogen ranges from 6 hours to 12 to 14 hours. If you see literature, or otherwise I will send you the literature wherein it is written that it is 6 hours to 12 to 14 hours. This is the doubling time. In case
Typical
of
AD bioreactors, typical AD bioreactors में मिथेनोजन पैदा होने में कितना दिन लगता है वो आप रेफर कर लीजिए.
Sir, this is a very sensitive process. Anaerobic decomposition is very sensitive. It is
Reddy
to be
Saab, please
it is to be done under
engage with
controlled
Kamboj
condition. That is a to be under controlled condition. But it is going to take place in 14 hours, 20 hours. Decomposition is there. Thing is that at a controlled condition in a stationary place that where companies we are struggling with
अजय
the
साहब
process.
अब कंबोज साहब के साथ एक स्पेशल सेशन कराए, चाहे it can be limited members, I don't mind. But the point is, you are at a stage.
I am telling, sir, what you said is 100% right. It cannot be degraded in the moving train for the 2 days or 3 days. This matter. It takes days or weeks.
Reddy Saab, you had enough. Now, let me listen to Kamboj Saab. You have said enough. My only point is, I'm concerned with 1 liter of treatment. I'm not, but the principles will have to be adhered to. Acha,
sir, I can give you n number of literatures wherein it has been mentioned, and because you are not convinced with my arguments, so I can give you the literature.
No, I am open. You show me explain it to me, I'll accept. क्योंकि एसीटेट प्लस हाइड्रोजन CH4 के बोला, हाइड्रोजन कहाँ से आता है? ये सोर्स आपने नहीं बताया. Your frame says hydrogen acetate plus H2. From where does it come?
Sir, hydrogen comes from water also. Hydrogen comes from the decomposition of organic matter also, because lot of these amino acids contain hydrogen.
Anyway, that's
I can give you this. I can send you the equation also.
Sir, hydrogen splitting from H2O is a highly energy demanding process.
That is why it is very complicated process actually.
So it will not happen in 8 hours of a train journey. That's all I'm saying.
No. It is not only these 8 hours actually. You are seeing them discretely. You have to see them in holistically.
Sir, I have seen Ayanagar and all that where DRDO inoculum was given. For 2-3 years, none of them even acknowledged a complaint or picked up the phone. I have the on-site reality story with me from a friend whom I lost, unfortunately. And Ashish Ganju was a very qualified engineer from England. He was senior to me age-wise. He had no intention to make stories after all things. We are not inoculum suppliers that we will compete with DRDO. No. Show me one defense colony where the DRDO biotoilet is working and I'll sell you.
कम्बोज जी, आई थिंक लक्षद्वीप में कुछ इंस्टॉलेशन हुए थे ना, उनके बारे में कुछ आप बताना चाहेंगे?
हुए थे नहीं है.
ओके.
लक्षद्वीप कंप्लीटली ऑन बायोटॉयलेट्स है. गोवा में ऑलरेडी 60,000 लगे हुए हैं. मिजोरम में लगे हुए हैं. पंजाब में लगे हुए हैं. देयर आर सो मेनी डिफरेंट प्लेसेस. फोर्सेस में लगे हुए हैं. पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस में लगे हुए हैं. यू सी
आपने CHN की बात करी, because Archaea's temperature range is -51 degree to 152 degrees centigrade. Bacteria cannot work there. And these Archaea and fungi cannot be cultured. That is what the cell and tissue culture laboratory research papers say. Maybe in last 2-3 years something has happened. I'll accept it because I have not seen recent
Sir,
papers.
You are confusing actually. There is another category of microbes called syntrophs. If you might have heard this.
Syntrophic. Oh, God, yeah.
So syntrophs cannot be cultured in isolation. They have to be cultured together. But otherwise, many of the archaea can be cultured and they have been cultured.
So what is syntropic, sir? That is exactly what I said.
That is what I am saying, that you are getting confused with
No,
syntropic.
syntropic is not one particular community. It's a group of members from and with different genomic.
Different genre also.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So it is a teamwork between various colonies. That is why I brought that relay race example. The first person responds to the gunshot. He has nothing to do with the finish line. The last runner has something to do with the finish line, nothing to do with the gunshot. In middle,
Sir,
two runners have nothing to do with any one of them.
Sir, this process is old age, well established, and historical. If you are questioning the process of anaerobic digestion, then unfortunately I don't agree to this.
No. Anaerobic digestion, yes, provided you increase the carbon.
You see, biodegradation happening in night soil, that is human fecal matter, is a routine process.
Sir,
What?
I as a student of colon ecology, human colon is not a completely evolved colon. Cow gut, yes. But see the cow gut, the food that cows eat, in the fungi that are
If you
helpful in
see the CN
disintegrating.
ratio of cow also, cow
I
dung
think
also.
I think we'll have a little time out. डालमिया जी बड़े देर से वेट कर रहे हैं. Let him have his say.
I would just like to draw the attention of some of my observations in this biogas. I am not very biologically acclaimed knowledge, but my observations say that at one time in the 80s, there was a lot of Chinese community toilets which were producing gas for the village. So that is one. I have not been to China, but from the papers, the review papers that were published even by the WHO, that communities, they have a common toilet and the gas is again supplied to the community. They did not mention using any other form of biological material to charge the digesters. That is one. The other is effluent from sugar industry, especially the distillery industry. They have these biodigesters where they would be circulating the water through some media that will be actually clung to bio balls and things like that, so that there is a colony of bacteria stuck to the bio balls, and the circulation will reduce the digestive time. I mean, the detention time would get reduced, and therefore they will attain. So there is a churning process which is happening constantly, and that was reducing the detention time and getting the biogas out before the last digestion, rather the STP would be after that. Effluent treatment plant, ETP would be at the last end. This is just two observations about the movement of the liquid that was digested, and the other is the human feces to biogas. These are the two observations that I would like to throw for all the experts to, react to.
Already we are more than 1.5 hours into the session, and this discussion I think will need some more time. So my request is कि on this specific science portion of it, probably we can take a pause here and have a dedicated session later on with a little bit more details with perhaps few people who are deeply
डालमिया
interested.
साहब, आपका पॉइंट बहुत वैलिड है, but sugar industry, the molasses is mainly the reject of the crushed cane sugar, which is all cellulose. It is a high carbon component, and the microbes involved is a fungi, Neocalimystigomycota.
Sir, he has said two things. One about the sugarcane effluent, and other about the human fecal matter. So as far as sugarcane content was concerned, he said that mixing was required. he emphasized on the mixing, churning. And regarding the human fecal matter degradation, he said that Chinese are using it for biodegradation or sorry, for biomethanation.
Sir, आपके साथ I would love to engage at length, because at this age, if I
Why
can
not, sir?
learn something, it
Why
will
not, sir?
give me hope before I go.
No.
I need your blessings. But so far,
You
if
long live,
I am
sir.
wrong, I will be obliged and grateful to you. But what if you have missed out something? Then the whole
Yes.
world is at stake, because world ever there is not a single STP working successfully as per the design drawing. World
See, sir,
over, you take Manhattan.
Here it is not that case actually. You are mistaken. World over, many STPs are working on this principle.
बताइए ना.
Everywhere you can find these.
Not everywhere. I can give you data Manhattan straight away.
Sir,
I will give
STP
you
across
tonnage
the world
wise.
is a failure, sir. STP across the world is a failure. I can also show you n number of samples, sir. Nowhere the current STP design is working. I can challenge it on court. I'll come with Ravalji anywhere you want.
So I think we are entering into a territory which is exciting, but we have time constraint, and if everybody's permission, I will like to wrap up. Niharika, perhaps you can do the honors.
Ajay sir, one
And
last question about trains.
one thing, I think there is a very much important that we have a follow-up session for the science of it. Okay, Apurva, you please
Yeah,
ask.
my question is ki India is a hot country, so we don't have any problem of anaerobic generation of the microbes. What happens in a cold place like Kashmir Railways? Because that's where your bacteria will just die out. It's a new challenge from the last few years. That
I think I think it is surviving there. I think Kamboj sir, आप कुछ बताना चाहेंगे इसके trains now they
So
are going to Kashmir in snow areas also. Very valid question.
for last many years, actually, I'm out of this project because of my other requirements. But just I want to say about the temperature part, which has been highlighted here, that with temperature going down, the efficiency of the process will go down. And in Siachen, what we used to do is we used to maintain mechanically the temperature inside the biodigester tank by means of insulation and by means of solar heating systems. But it has also got the capability of exothermic reaction. It means whatever the process of biomethanation is there, energy is liberated, and to some extent it can maintain its fluidity. So that can happen. Of course, if it is the winter time in Srinagar and the biodigester is functional there, the efficiency would be very less. That is for sure that is there.
right, sir. Thank you.
अच्छा, एक
So
बात है, अरे देखिए, before we go to CHN and all that, if we see the temperature tolerance and efficiency of Archaea, Siachen temperature is not at all a hurdle.
सर, आपने बताया ना कि ये प्रोसेस अकेले का नहीं है, ये 4 ग्रुप के बैक्टीरिया का प्रोसेस है.
Agreed. We can have a session on Siachen, or we can have it.
तो जो पहले 2 ग्रुप है, वो 2 ग्रुप जो है, वो टॉलरेंट नहीं है लो टेम्परेचर और हाई टेम्परेचर के लिए. Archaea is tolerant for low temperature and high temperature.
Agreed. But the point is, between acetate to acid methane, if we just take one metabolic route, we'll have a session on that.
I think we should conclude. बहुत सारे unanswered question रह गए हैं, and it is, I think, sign of the healthy discussions what we had. We had dug deep into the shit to bring perspective back. There was a time when I was being called Dr. Shit because being involved in Biotoilets and so many other projects. It's perhaps time to conclude the session. Thank you everybody for joining in. हरी जी, आप अगर हैं तो कुछ लास्ट बोलना चाहेंगे? हरिहरन सर. I think probably he's traveling, so he might not be able to. Niharika, can you please wind up the session?
Yes. So thank you so much, sir, for such an engaging session. And definitely, I think one follow-up sessions would be needed to discuss the science part of it. I would like to request anyone having any last line, you want to say something, or else we'll just conclude the session, sir. So anyone wants to say something?
That's a dangerous statement to make with so many. You are throwing the floor open again.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Okay.
Niharika, for
Thank you.
organizing this.
I think the idea of a one on science is good, but I think the question should be prepared earlier. People,
Sure, sir.
otherwise, we are just getting chaotic. So that it becomes focused, one topic, something. So let people who want to be salvers here ask questions, and let the other people who have answers talk about that. Then it will become more productive for people like us. Thank you.
Yeah.
गोपाल
Thank
जी
you.
बहुत
Thank you.
अच्छा सजेशन है आपका. थैंक यू, धन्यवाद.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We'll close the session, sir. Thank you so much.